Hello, everyone.
Morning, morning.
Good morning.
We are going to run through the presentation this morning. If you want to ask a question, right there and then, please do. Yeah, Ria will monitor the comment section for us, but we do have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. We're going to run through, just to give you a bit of the structure for this morning, as we only have 2 hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through pretty much, just the game plan in terms of content. And then we can do some practice runs with Ria, where she's going to, open up her Canva and show us, how easy it is to generate really good quality content for your club. So without any further ado, let's get going. So I think the purpose of, digital media nowadays is that, golf clubs are more than just fairways. They're more than just greens. They are really communities. I've never been to a golf course where you didn't get that sense of community and belonging. And in today's world, social media has become our digital clubhouse. Now, it's a place where your members gather online and where your club's personality shine or should shine, and where we can extend that sense of belonging. And extend that sense of belonging far beyond just your physical course or clubhouse. Now, your physical clubhouse will never, ever be replaced. But today, we're going to show you how social media can help your club connect with your members in a very authenticate way. And we're going to help you highlight the lifestyle, your offers, and ultimately help you to build stronger pride and also loyalty in your digital community. That's just beyond your physical actual clubhouse. Now, there's a new social media landscape, and there's a shift that's been taking place. Actually, it started before lockdown, but lockdown's just kind of like intensified it. So, the majority of, content generators and brands are moving away from perfectly curated feeds. You look at some of these Instagram feeds, and I mean, it's pristine, it's beautiful, everything just looks amazing. But people are moving away from that perfectly curated feeds, because if you look at some of these influencers, I mean, I don't live, my life doesn't involve, living, on this resort for a week and then another resort for another week. I've got to do some washing in between. I've got to cook at night. I've got to sort out the kids. I've got to deal with, clients. I've got to, meet deadlines. Life's not perfect. And I think we've seen this many, many years ago. I think one of my first workshops that I presented, instead of a one-day workshop, we did a 3-day workshop, and it will kill me today. But about 14 years ago, we spoke about content, and how digital content, is going to become critical for brands to showcase authenticity. And I think, people want to see real life. They want to see authentic behind the scenes. They want to see your personality. They don't want to see a polished picture. You look at also some of these influencers. It must take them hours to, get the makeup right, get the outfits right. And people don't want to see that. They want to engage. They want to connect. And they don't connect with perfection. They connect with authenticity, with real content. To give you some, quick stats, for instance, if we look at reels and shorts, we know that videos get 30% more engagement than photos. And when we look at behind the scenes, or UGC, now that UGC stands for user-generated content. Now that UGC content sees 6 to 7 times higher interaction. And we've just proven it. We've got a painting client, well, paint shop client, and they're one of the largest paint shops in South Africa. They've got a number of branches. And we've done, when we took over the campaign, we followed kind of like the first couple of months. We followed what they did previously, and there were no engagement. And I mean, Ria and the team has been very, very clever about this, and they've involved the staff. And they've suddenly just turned around the social media for this client, and they actually now go from store to store and film these incredible, authentic not polished, true content, the staff member doing a funny dance, and he's the guy that mixes your paint, and you never really get to engage with him. But suddenly here he is on social media and people love it. So that user generated content, getting, instead of just having a fictitious, review on Google My Business for your club, a made up kind of like review, rather, get a video clip of a long-standing member that loves your golf course, and put that content up, and you'll see how that explodes, because 79% of people trust that content from real people over the branded, polished content that people typically put out. So authenticity wins, and people always connect with behind the scenes content. So your quick reels, your user generated posts, are amazing. If you just go look at some of these golf courses and the content that people shoot and that they tag the clubs in, is incredible. So you should highlight small, real moments always. Sun rising over the golf course, the sprinklers going on, people arriving for a golf course, getting off their golf carts. It's that kind of footage that people love seeing. People warming up before a round, staff preparing the course. Those moments always feel relatable. We can feel it, we can smell it, we can see it. We've experienced most of those shots before, and that kind of like evokes certain emotions. So it really is important that those moments are always captured, because that's what people relate to. It also builds stronger emotional connection with your members. It's so much easier for content generation. There's no need for perfection. I think this is what we want to bring across today. Yes, you've got a brand guide. Yes, you've got a certain look and feel. Yes, you've got to appeal to a certain audience, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody's so bombarded with perfection the whole day that, when they get to see an authentic, beautiful reel just taken on a smartphone, it's published into a feed, they'll engage with that, and we've got the content results to show that. All the stats are in, and people love that kind of content. And then also it will encourage your members to participate and engage with your content. We'll get to a couple of content rules a little bit later on, but they won't feel pressured. If they want to take a video and post it or send it to you to share it, or just tag you in it, then they won't feel as pressured, and they'll much easier share that content with you. So we've developed a 4-part. Yes, Ria.
Oh, sorry, Hugo. I just wanted to quickly add on that. Sometimes we tend to overthink, like you said, overthink the content. And basically, we overthink it so much that it actually never gets to the actual posting of it. We'll share a few examples later, but basically, your staff um, preparing the golf course, cutting the greens early morning. It's literally a mere 15 seconds. But the thing is, why that video works is lots of the people at the club who follow the club know that staff member, number one. So it's not just a stranger. Number two, it's a very short clip, so it's easily engageable. So basically, someone scrolls past and sees it. So it's really moving away from overthinking these things. For example, it was Women's Month. It's taking a picture of all the women staff at the club and just sharing a message of appreciation. So it's really, um, like you guys said, there is a brand guide and there's a place for that, but there's definitely a massive, massive shift in social media, towards the authentic thing. I'm going to make an example. So I'll share the example with you guys later. There's a video of an Italian restaurant, and basically what they've done is the owners have stood like this in the restaurant, and then the team would literally like throw each of the pizzas from the top into his hands, right? Which is a very fun video to watch because as you look at it, a new pizza arrives. But from this perspective, all you can see is just, the new pizza arriving. On the flip side, they made a video of behind the scenes of where they, like the team member is on chairs throwing the pizzas from the top. And that video got more engagement than the perfect one with the pizzas that you could see. Both of them did really well, but it actually shows you the shift between, just the pizza versus the people behind the pizza. And that's actually what's happening in the social media landscape.
Great. Right. Okay, so what we've done is we've developed a four-part playbook. And I think, the most important takeaways here is moving away from perfectly curated feeds. Understanding that members want real, authentic, behind-the-scene content, and rather have personality than polished content that don't engage. We see this quite a lot, that clubs would use, instead of their own pictures. And this is the thing, clubs have the most incredible product to sell. People love golf. Nobody plays golf because I hate it. It's not paying your taxes or completing long forms for your medical aid. This is an emotive product that you have. And you don't have to convince people to come and play golf. I don't know a single golfer whose arm I've got to twist to go play around. They love playing golf, and they'd rather be out there than be sitting behind their desk. So you've got an incredible opportunity to create authentic content and not use polished, what's the word that I'm looking for? Content that you download from these sites that, it's not even your golf course. Now you're using a background, that you got on one of these, help me out, Ria. What do you call those websites? We just download photographs from
Or Free Pick, any one of those.
Any one of those, and now you're using a picture of a golf course, and there's a lake behind it, or there's mountains behind it, and you're actually stuck in Joburg where there's no mountains. So that authenticity is what people crave in social media. I've had many discussions with people, and they actually are so bored, with social media, because there's just all this AI generated content that's making its appearance. I had a meeting yesterday at 4:00 with one of the senior members of Facebook support team, and we were just talking through some of our clients and the direction that they're going. And the scary part is that they want to control everything. In 3 to 5 years, for instance, they will take away the availability of you being able to target people specifically, and it's all going to be Advantage Plus audiences, because they feel that by then the AI will know exactly who your target audience is. So people are not engaging with that polished AI type of content. So it really is important. Also, people are looking for connection and not perfection. So each part here is built around best practices that you can use from today onwards. So our advice is to start small and use this playbook that we're going to run through now and focus on one area at a time. I think the most important takeaway from today should be the word consistency. Because if you do something consistently, then it'll start feeling natural. And you will then move into strategy and visibility for your brand. And this will provide then a repeatable structure for your club to follow. It will reduce overwhelm by breaking content into clear steps. And also it will ensure balance between your visibility, the creativity, and also consistency. So the key word here for today is consistency. Right. So the workshop goal today is to get you to help you plan your club's content calendar like a pro, to create engaging posts without big budgets, use tools and hacks to stay consistent, and then also boost visibility and member pride online. And that's always one of the key things. If you want to grow your membership, then you need to grow your digital marketing, your social media, because that's where people make 60 to 80% of their buying decisions. It's not only golf courses, it's across the board. How many times have we first gone, search for people online to see what they do, who they are, and whether people are actually liking engaging with them. So creating those engaging posts without big budgets is critical for you, because you don't need expensive productions. You need free tools, member-generated content, and often when you bring that authenticity rather than polish ads, it will make your social media management much more achievable, especially for small teams. Because I know that a lot of the golf courses, there's not always a dedicated social media manager. You have somebody in the office doing the social media as well. And if we create engaging posts with small budgets, with user-generated content, then it will increase your reach without you having to spend money, because people are engaging, and the digital media platform, the social media platform algorithm will start highlighting more of your content. So that's an easy one. And then also it will build pride and ownership within your club community, and that will drive more content. So it's got the snowball effect. So these are the four goals that we want to address today. So let's lay that fairway. In terms of content themes for clubs, there are four legs, pillars that you need to look at. First of all, education. Education is critical, for any club to drive membership, and also engagement. Tips from a pro, rules explained simply, and then posts that inspire, that entice people to come and play around at golf. Your sunrises, member milestones. And then there's promotion, where you advertise your tournaments, you have your F&B specials, any kind of like promotion that you want to run can also go onto social media. And then the fourth pillar is engagement. And that's where you can run some polls, some quizzes, and you can, have a caption this post. There's a lot of options, but you must mix in inspiration, education, promotion, and member engagement, because this keeps it balanced. Pretty much like your course design. A good approach here is to always rotate them between these themes so that members can see something fresh every week. Too much promotion always feels like advertising, and nobody engages with it. Running competitions is most probably the worst thing a lot of brands can do, where, sign up and you can win this, or, because it attracts a different type of audience. Share, and you don't want people to, follow you just because they can win something. You want them to follow you because they're inspired. They're getting educational tips from you. They're getting, membership news from you. There's engagement. They want to be part of that. So too much promotion always feels like advertising, and balance here is very, very key. So keep your content fresh and varied for different member interests. Encourage participation through fun and interactive posts, and then balance your business goals with member enjoyment. Social media is fun. It shouldn't be boring.
You go.
And
Just
too
to
formal.
just to add to the previous slide, I think here something I always tell our clients is, as much as you are a client and you're a club, so you have various hats that you put on. So in some ways you are a member of the club, in some ways you are maybe the social media manager of the club, and in other ways you're also a consumer. So if you think before you post, think of yourself. Will that, what you are putting out to a consumer, move them? Because
Mm.
would it move you? Would it actually get you to engage with that post? Would it get you to enter the competition? And if your favorite brand, for example, let's take an example. If your favorite brand is, I'm going to take something very random, Parmalat for that matter. And all they do is they feed you with specials all the time. You're eventually going to unfollow them, because the reason is you're not getting anything else from them. Nothing educational, nothing inspirational, nothing fun. I think the fun element is definitely something that's seriously picking up. I'll show you guys an example of a spa. You've probably seen it online. It's the Outeniqua Super Spa in George.
Go follow them.
Absolutely hilarious what they do. But obviously, a spa has many specials. That is the reality. But how they've started engaging with their audience and giving this spa its own identity is amazing. I'll share the video with you now. But that is how, and all of a sudden, people from Brazil are commenting on this Spar's post saying they want to visit the George Super Spar, which is in a South African context something very boring. And all of a sudden, they've created this story around the Spar through videos and getting the staff to
Mm-hmm.
engage, etc. So it is a case of thinking of yourself, would that move you? And sometimes we've seen with, when filming members or when filming staff, you really have to rev them up beforehand. I mean, it has to be fun for them as well, because otherwise it looks very, very, very rehearsed. And you can also see that. So I just wanted to add onto this slide. Thank you, Hugo.
And I think that the amazing thing about digital marketing is that everything is measurable. And your platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all those platforms have really good reporting. Well, I'm not a big fan of TikTok's reporting, but a lot of, most of these platforms really give you a lot of insights. You can see how many people are watching your videos. Where did they exit? How many people watched the whole thing? Did people share your post? Did they engage? And if you start reporting on a couple of those key, measurements, you'll very quickly start developing a trend, and it's measurable. You can see the impact immediately, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of clubs don't do, is measure the impact of the performance of their social media. And we've just started implementing a very cool tool. A great tool. It's called Metricool, and it gives you an immediate live dashboard of what's happening on your social media platforms, and it's a great tool to take and then use that data to plan the next couple of social media posts. So there's a couple of best practices that we need to adhere to, when we talk about social media. And I think, first of all, planning equals structure, and structure equals success results. You have to plan your social media. A lot of times when we work with clubs or we work with other clients, it's so crazy to see, how they scurry around to find something. They've got to do a post today and it's got to go out now, and then tomorrow same picture. We've got to post. What are we posting about? So if you are dedicated, you're not going to rely on memory. You're actually going to work in advance. With our clients, for instance, we use Millernote for visual campaign planning in terms of content and campaigns, your daily content and also your paid for campaigns. You can use Google Sheets to have a simple content calendar pulled up. And then there's Meta Business Suite that helps you to schedule your content in advance. It takes off the pressure of having to post every day, because to generate the content is one thing, to plan the content is a different thing, and then to schedule and distribute that content is another thing. So if you are smart, you will find a practical way to do this within your club. And a practical way to do it is to set aside an hour on a Monday to plan and schedule posts for the week ahead. And it saves you time, it keeps things consistent, and you spend an hour and you've got your 5, 6, 7 posts that you've designed, that you've planned, designed, and you've scheduled them. And all you've got to do then in the mornings is to open up your phone, have a look at Millernote and see whether the posts have gone out. That's one way of doing it. But we like to do it even a little bit more different. And that's where we sit and we have our content calendar for the next 6 months or year. And that content calendar will dictate what goes into your monthly content plan, which is on Millernote. And there you'll import the video, you'll import the picture, you'll import the artwork, everything that you've done from Millernote, for instance, on Canva, and pull it into Millernote. You add the caption, you send it to somebody for approval if they've got to approve it, And then, you AOA for the whole month's content. So we typically send our clients, their content plans between the 23rd, 25th of the month, and then they approve it. And we then, on the first day of the month, we just schedule all the content plans. Or make sure that they're scheduled by the first of the month. And that brings a lot of structure. So it saves us time, it avoids us from last minute scrambling, it creates consistency that members notice and they appreciate it. And it makes it easy to collaborate across staff, different committees, different departments. So all the news is covered. Like we said, there's not only one type of post, there's 4 different types of content pillars that you need to work into your planning for the next month. Right. There's Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now, these are typically the 3 most widely used platforms for golf clubs. The difference here is the audience and how they utilize these platforms. So typically, we always say it's the same story across all 3 platforms, but with a different tone, slightly different tone. Now, for example, one club story could become a notice on Facebook, and a beautiful lifestyle reel on Instagram, and a professional highlight on LinkedIn. It's the same story, but it's just got adapted for each of the different platforms. So if you look at Facebook, for instance, Facebook is where we will post all the events, the fixtures, and we, speak to an older audience, 30 plus. Instagram is 18 to about 35, and then LinkedIn is far more of a more mature audience, professional, or not mature. Sorry, I'm going to take that back. Don't hold that against me. LinkedIn is more of a professional platform where there's going to be few engagement, but there's going to be or fewer likes, but more of a mature engagement. That's what I want to say. So Instagram is there for reels, for lifestyle, for your visual storytelling. Everything looks beautiful and it's great. And then LinkedIn is where you can promote your corporate golf days, your sponsors. A lot of you have conference venues, meeting rooms. You can do team buildings, etc. So those are great posts for LinkedIn. It doesn't mean that you're not going to put it on Facebook, but you're going to focus that type of content a bit more on LinkedIn. And when you just change it's the same story, you just change the tone, that will ensure that the right tone reaches the right audience, and it'll make them engage more. Also, it maximizes your visibility by meeting members where they are online. If you look at the old piece, product, place, price, promotion, place is not where the physical product is always, it's where your audience is. And then also strengthens the club's professional reputation on LinkedIn. I don't know how many of you are actually using LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is a very powerful tool for clubs. Right, then if we look at crafting the shot and we look at content creation, it doesn't have to be perfect, but there are some rules. And, if you look at Canva, and we'll look at Canva in a little while, Canva has millions of free templates, and it's become this incredible tool for people who don't have the luxury of a digital marketing agency like us, where we have our own contingent, we've got our own videography crews, our own photographers, we have graphic designers, we have copywriters, we've got social media specialists. If you don't have the luxury of working with somebody like Real Marketing, then there's a couple of things that you have to do. And the first thing here is to create a brand presence on Canva and get the paid version. I mean, it's not expensive. Ria, you might know the latest pricing, but it's not expensive.
It's
Do you know what the latest pricing is?
141 or 170 Rand. It's really not a lot, but it's
Yeah.
definitely worth investing in. But Hugo,
Yeah.
if I can just quickly jump in here
Yeah,
as
please.
well. I think something very important that we've seen throughout, and I'm 100% sure like someone on the call or various people on the call has also seen this. As you know, your club has a logo, your club still has colors, your club still has certain fonts. It's very important to stick to those when you do use Canva. It doesn't mean all of your posts are going to look the same and be super boring. It actually just means there's going to be consistency. Because otherwise, no offense to these people, but I receive from my gran. I absolutely love her to bits, but I get these good morning messages every single day. I love it, but each of them look different. And when you don't follow, I'm using that as a random example, but when you don't follow a brand guide on social media, everything starts looking different. And the reason why, Nike, Adidas, all of those brands are so, one of the reasons why they're so prominent is because if you look at something, you can immediately see, oh, that is Adidas, that is Nike, whatever the case may be, because they stick to their brand guides. So make sure you as a club actually invest in, even if you get an agency or someone to do your Canva templates. So basically meaning this is how your congratulation post is going to look. This is how um your stories are going to look. Just a basic template just to help you. And it's going to be super easy for you from there to simply take those templates, change the text, and there you go. Because otherwise, you have to go and think, excuse me, every single time you do a post, how is this going to look? What colors am I going to use? Instead of, I have colors, I have my logo, I know where everything needs to be, let me just place this. And you're also going to create consistency within your club because as much as a cute Mother's Day post is nice with a flower and it's green, it does nothing for your club and it does nothing for your brand. It's great if you want to send those to your friends on WhatsApp, but for the club, it is important to make sure you stick to that look and that brand guide, just to ensure that when people see your content, they immediately know, oh, Atlantic Beach Club, or this is Skukuza. We can immediately see. I'm using them as examples. But yeah, so it's very important just to get the baseline right because otherwise each and every one of your documents are going to look different.
Yeah, you've got to stand brand. And the nice thing about Canva is you can create a brand folder that contains your colors, your font, your logos, which makes it a lot easier for you to generate content. So yeah, those templates that we do for a lot of our clients are critical, and we see especially with estate agents who continuously has to upload new property listings, etc. Those templates come in very handy. With them. So we also have a 30-70 rule, a 70-30 rule. And that 70-30 rule pretty much just says to us that 70% of all your posts should add value, should talk about, golf. It should talk about your course, and 30% should be promotion. And if you can get it below 30%, great. Because if we focus mainly on lifestyle and member stories and only a small portion on direct promotions, it'll build trust and it'll keep people engaged. I have unfriended a couple of people and unfollowed them on especially Facebook, people that only, share promotions, share competitions, and because it doesn't add value to my life. It's important for a club to have those messages in there because members also need to be educated and made aware of things that are happening at the club. So it is important, but if it's got 100%, promotional messages, then you won't have a lot of engagement. Right, visual best practices. So here, I think the golden rule here is to show the lifestyle, not just your logo. You don't have to slap your logo on every single post. if you're using authentic content, like for instance, a course shot in golden hour, using your real members instead of stock photography. That's the word I was looking for early on. Food and beverage highlights. If there's a special of the week, get it up there, get it out. But instead of just a picture, take a video of the chef plating it and presenting it, towards the camera. I don't know if you guys can see me, but, rather present it. We do a lot of work in the hospitality industry as well. And one of our clients in Dubai is Wakami. It's a very nice upmarket Japanese restaurant. And their content is always so engaging because they show the chefs and the waiters, and it's a team that presents it. It's not just the plate of food lying on a table. Videos are much better than photographs. So it brings us to the next point, and that's to create those short form videos for reels and stories. Because if you follow the development of television screens, and one would have thought they've developed everything by now, but about 2.5 years ago, they launched the first portrait television, not just a television that's turned on its side, but one that specifically can run feeds like YouTube Shorts, your stories, and those type of content feeds. There's more engagement on stories. If we look at the stats, people have become tired of endlessly scrolling down. So they now just swiping from right to left on stories and just flicking through stories, which is far more engaging content than posts at the bottom. So you've got to do posts. You have to have that balance of changing your posts into stories as well. And then it just brings me to another point, which I'm sure we'll get to a little later again, but to use the right sizes. If you don't use the right size, from the word go, then you're going to struggle to turn a landscape video into a portrait, if it was shot too close or too far away. So the planning is really critical. So we show lifestyle, not just the logo, and we move away from stock photography like this guy standing here. I can bet you, these are 3 different components. The lawn looks like it's edited in, the clouds are edited in, he's not standing where the picture wants us to believe that he's standing. So you've got to create that strong emotional pull with authentic images. And you need to showcase the lifestyle benefits of being part of your club. I think that's absolute key. And then you've got to differentiate your club from other competitors using real stories. And I think this is the magic. I mean, in Cape Town, we sport for choice. I live just around the Belleville Golf Club. But I mean, within a couple of kilometers, there are many more. You've got Durbanville Golf Club as well. You've got Para Golf Club. But there's lots of them, within 20, 30-minute drive from here. So there's a lot of competition. You're definitely not alone. So you've got to showcase your club and set yourself apart from the competition. And instead of people driving out to, for instance, Malmesbury, nothing wrong with Malmesbury, or to Paarl or to, Stellenbosch, entice them to come and play at at your club. So there's a lot of work to be done in terms of planning and making sure that you put the right content out there that will entice people to rather play around a golf at your golf course. And it's nice to see some familiar names on here. Hi, John. Haven't seen you in ages. So if we look at the next slide, crafting the shot, there is member-generated content. That's that user-generated content, UGC, that we always speak about in digital terms. So what you want to do here is you want to encourage members to tag your club. And a simple way to encourage them is to run like a monthly photo competition, and that gives them an opportunity and a reason to share, and it also gives your club authentic content return, because as soon as they tag you, you can share the content again on your platform. So encourage members to tag the club, reshare their photos and videos with their permission, and run that photo of the month or video of the month contest, and come up with some really cool prizes, because content is key. I mean, you can't run a successful digital marketing strategy without content, good quality content. And
Yes.
if yes, Rhian.
No, I just wanted to add. So the photo that you see on the desktop is actually a member that tagged Atlantic Beach Club, the golf course. So literally on Instagram, they tag them, and we could pick that up there. And this is a really nice photo. I mean, you would think that this is a stock photo or taken by a photographer, but it's actually one of the members. So it is really valuable encouraging them to tag you and simply reusing that content, because they also, they get other moments than what your team would.
Absolutely. Okay, so again, if we look at best practices in terms of posting, then I think it's always important to aim for 3 solid posts weekly in prime time slots. Think of these posts like you think about your T sheet, fixed times that members can expect and rely on instead of posting randomly. It's part of the planning process. And if you utilize Meta's tools on the back end, they will recommend when you should post because they know when your followers are online, and it's quite a handy tool, that scheduling tool. So if you look at your posts, we say 3 posts per week, but you can add to this. You can add reels, you can add stories, you can build on this. But to stay relevant, for instance, I got asked a question at our previous workshop. I was asked a question, so how many content pieces should you have to stay relevant to the algorithm? And I went to go check up on that because in the past it used to be about 25,000 content pieces per year. But it's changed. It's about 80,000 content pieces per year now. And none of us have the ability to generate 80,000 content pieces. So you have to be really clever because you've got to remember that both Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, they're all bidding platforms. So you do all the hard work, you have 100 followers, and you post something. And if you just adhere to the best practices, they will, as a golden rule, only show your content to about 2% of your audience. So you do all the hard work, and organically, only 2% of people will see your content. Now, why do they do that? Well, they're bidding platforms. They want you to spend money to drive engagement, drive traffic to your website, drive inquiries, etc. But if you start posting content that people are engaging with, then they see that as a turnaround in terms of an opportunity for them to make money off you. And then they will highlight and distribute your post to more people because you're keeping people on their advertising platform. So it really is important for you to make sure that you have that consistency there to start off with. So first of all, 3 posts a week. And then if you get that right and expand that onto stories and onto reels, then you'll very quickly see how that builds trust with your predictable and regular posting. But it also helps members to know when to look for updates. So, if I want to know what's happening this weekend, the first post will be out by Wednesday. And I can quickly go onto your Facebook instead of having to phone the club or having to go look up a calendar that was sent to me via email. And that creates a very steady rhythm that will mirror your club life. And I think that's very important. Don't go against the stream. Just follow your weekly rhythm at the club. Now, I'm going to just quickly share a video. Ria, I don't know if you want to introduce this clip quickly.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great stuff. Sorry, I can't. So basically, this is just to show a bit of an example of, members interacting, because people follow people. So, members engaging with your club. This example is actually from an American club. club, you can have a look. But if you have an upcoming championship or tournament happening, it would be really beneficial for you to get this kind of content. And also, just another tip is to double down on if you do have, for example, championship or something coming up, and you don't necessarily always have time to create content, then to take that day and to create multiple content pieces with different people and then use them for the next month or two. That would just help you in terms of planning your time as well. But you can play the video, you go.
Going to shoot an 87. Lights out on the front, really, really, really bad on the back. Shot an 88, one off my number.
I think I'm going to shoot 83. No 83, 87.
89, 82.
Hey, I'm Drew, and I'm going to shoot a 81.
Not quite an 81, 89.
I think I'm going to shoot 85. I shot 83 today.
82, I hope. Darn 17, missed it by 1.
I'm going to shoot a 74 today. I shot an 80.
Probably can't. I'm going to say 76 today. Probably can't. I shot 93 today.
Well, I'm hoping for a big day today. Had a big night last night, but I think I'm going to really pull through. It's really all about the team, and probably going to shoot 70.
Well, it was a tough day out there. I had huge aspirations. 70 was in the cards, I think, at the beginning, but I think I reached that at about hole 15. Disappointed, but there's always next year.
So basically, it's getting the hearts of your club and your members onto social media. And that's really what you want to create. And you guys saw that little mic that they have in their hands. That is a very, very, very cheap little mic that you can just buy from Takealot for your club for these videos, and you connect it to your phone. So that's an easy tool that you can use to empower whoever is doing the media on that day.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the content, these types of content, really engages with people, and if you go to that specific post, that hundreds of likes on there. Right, next one. So spotlight your club. If you look at Meta Business Suite, you have free tools on there, and those free tools are really, really awesome. If you batch create 1 hour, for 1 hour, you can generate 1 week's worth of posts. And the trick here is to then align those posts with your events calendar, etc., so that your social media reflect what's happening in real life. And then once you've done that, you can add it to Meta Business Suite. It's a free tool, gives you great reporting as well, and you share all the content. It saves hours by batching it together. There's no guesswork. It ensures that social media aligns with real events and activities, and also it prevents gaps or rushed low-quality posts. And I think that's the worst thing, is just to do quick rushed a content piece that doesn't really resonate with people just because you had to post something. Now, Ria also asked me to just share the following post. Just want to open it up, Ria.
Yes, so this was just an example to quickly show you guys. So once again used Atlantic Beach as an example. So you can still see the little logos on the left-hand side, but it still looks like a, Atlantic type of beach post. So the next time they want to congratulate someone, they would use something similar, but with a different photo. That's showing you like you're sticking to your brand, but you're changing up the content. And that is just to show you the value of staying consistent, because next time, if the post looks entirely different, that's great. But it does create consistency. Not saying it needs to be boring, but the next post they'll probably use similar fonts and similar colors to ensure they stay within the brand.
Thanks, Ria. Okay, so there are different engagement hacks. It really is important for you to drive engagement. Engagement and consistency are hand in hand, and you should always respond to people within 24 hours, and your comment section, and also in the DMs, the direct messages. So if you also look at social media, and we've got a client at the moment, we actually halfway through the process of helping them realize the importance of addressing all comments, not only the good ones, because they tend to hide and delete any bad comments. So, and that doesn't drive authenticity. You look at a post and you can see, oh, there's 20 comments. I want to read through them, and you can only see 2 or 3. Then you know that the rest have been hidden, and it doesn't align with what the message actually says. So you should always respond within 24 hours. And whether it's a good comment or a bad comment, you should respond. It shows ownership, it builds trust, and there's a lot of transparency. I nearly said deursigtigheid. And I think that is key to all clubs. In the day and age that we live in, things happen so quickly. People want that immediate answer. So you can work that into your daily routine, that you check for messages in the mornings, around about lunchtime, and just before you go home again, and also respond to any of your comments. Also, the more you engage, the more you answer, the more you like comments and reply to them, the higher your engagement ranking will be, and the more Meta and LinkedIn will realize, well, the AI will realize that you're a responsible brand. People engage, you engage back, and they're going to put more of your content out there to more people. So that really is really, really cool. So think of your social media as digital hospitality. If somebody walks up to you and say, "Hi, Hugo, how are you doing? I'd like more information," do you just ignore them and walk away? No, you don't. You help them, you answer them, you sort them out. And that's exactly what that. So quick response online always feels like good service, at the club. It makes people, and especially your members, feel really valued. So secondly, polls and quizzes. These are really important, for you to do some market research as well. And you can ask people about what's their favorite 19th hole drink, what's the hardest hole of the club, guess the winning score, other people's or your own scores. So really is important to find the true purpose behind your post, because content should always make members feel seen and heard. It should encourage more interaction with your social media content, because you're rewarding them for their engagement. And then you should also turn online comments into stronger offline relationships. So that really is just the 3 takeaways on that slide. Then, in terms of boosting visibility, I think here your focus shouldn't be on things like likes and hashtags, etc. Focus on content that travels, and content that travels is the type of content, for example, when you share leaderboards or group photos after events, members naturally want to tag themselves and share those posts, which spreads your reach. And in a lot of cases, if you start tagging people instead of just adding hashtags are very important. There should be hashtags on your posts, and maybe 1 or 2 on your reels and stories. But ultimately, sorry, not stories, on your reels. But ultimately, you want to create content that people engage with. And if you tag somebody, the chances are very good if they've won some position, on a Saturday or club championship or club competition, then they will share that content. Also, your sponsors, people that sponsor golf courses, that sponsor your golf days, tag them. They are going to share that because that's free content for them again. So really important to make sure that you tag sponsors, partners. It helps for double exposure. And then also it helps attract prospective members, because if you continue to share that type of content like leaderboards, results, social albums, people are going to going to feel like they want to be part of that, something special happening, at your club. So there's a lot of work to be done in content. Content just doesn't just happen overnight. Right. So in terms of your clubhouse routine, there are some best practices. We always say to people that you should keep evolving. Digital media evolves every single day, but you should double down on what members love. Don't overcomplicate it. The easiest way to do this is to check your insights. If a certain type of post performs really, really well, do more of it. It's as simple as that. You've got all the free tools to tell exactly how your posts are doing. And do more of those then. Let your members also guide your content, because if they keep on liking certain types of content and engage with it, then, that will help you. There's no thinking behind it anymore. Just follow the data. Your routine should be, very straightforward. You should dedicate at least 1 to 2 hours weekly on content generation scheduling. You should use insights to track your top performing content. And then also you should keep evolving. And that means that you just simply double down on what content your members have liked and engaged with. So by spending that hour a day, those 2 hours a week on social media, that will create discipline. And again, discipline is key when it comes to social media. And structure is also very important. So yeah, let's have a look at. I think there's one more video. Is that correct, Ria?
I'm not sure, but I have all of the ones I would like to show everyone quickly prepared. I'm not sure if there's another one on the presentation, but I am ready to show. Oh yes, that'd be great.
Right, here we go.
So I just really want to give context to this video, everyone. So basically, like we said, every club has an identity. Like each one of us have an identity. Some of us like to be on social media and some of us don't. Both of them are fine, but your club needs an identity. And the video that we saw that we just quickly share as an example is Skukuza, that obviously has quite a lot of wildlife and that makes it unique. But now the question is, what makes your club unique? What are the things that make your community stand out from a different one? Each club will have its own little perks. Is it the members? Is it the location? Is it absolutely not the location and only the members? You get many of those. Like I do horse riding, and like there are different communities and different provinces, and each one of them have their own little identity, and there's something that makes them unique for that. For example, the Western Cape is super competitive, and that's amazing, but that's also the vibe. And if you were to do their social media, you'd make a joke about that, because that is something that people know of the Western Cape. If it was, for example, the Northern Cape, they are a lack of vibe. If you have your cool box and some other horse that you can ride and compete in, you're good to go. So those are the type of stuff that each club, makes each club unique, and that's the stuff you want to share. So the video is very unique to Skukuza, but the reason for sharing this is actually to go and ask yourself, what makes my club unique? What makes my club tick? And what makes my members tick? Like, what are the things that I need to share around that? You can share the video. Yeah. Very cool. And you would want to overthink that video, but actually it's simply the golf course that someone took. You can see it's a phone, someone took it at night, a video that someone made. So what is at your club that you can use?
Yeah.
Hugo, are you still
Okay,
there?
so
There we go.
yeah, I am.
Thanks.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the official presentation. We'll do a wrap up and Q&A a little bit later. Do you have any questions so far?
I don't see any questions in the chat at the moment.
Okay, so now we're going to go over to the most nerve-wracking part of the presentation. That's over to Ria, because she's going to demonstrate in real time for us how to utilize. Thanks to Lani, appreciate the comment. She's going to show us, how to utilize a free tool like Canva to generate your content. We're going to take our time on this for the next half an hour, and then we'll open up for Q&As. But importantly here is get the paid for version, because then you don't run into limitations in terms of fonts and templates, etc. And you have a lot of space on the back end that you can save your designs on. So Ria's going to do Canva, and then once we've designed some content, she will, if you've got time, Ria, perhaps just show them how to quickly use AI like ChatGPT to create a content caption, and then put it together in a Millernote for them. Okay, thanks.
Perfect. I'm just quickly going to show you guys the videos that I spoke of earlier. I think it is very nice to have a visual to attach to what I explained. You can also go and have a look for yourself. But I'm just quickly going to share my screen. I'm going to try my very best. Share. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. I'm going to go. So, can't see the screen. Okay. Just hold on.
There we go. Just share with audio.
Can you now see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just quickly going to show you the video of, it's simply a staff example of a golf course where the staff is prepping the green. This is how simple it actually is to create the content. So that was literally 2 videos they took and created a reel around that. It was simply them prepping the green. It got so much engagement because it is real. Like, this is Umdoni Park Golf Club, which is, they have a really small following. But I mean, even just through the videos, they got so much more views. That's why in the beginning of the presentation, we explained how much more, videos will do for you as a golf club. On the right-hand side here, I will open it like that, was literally a member that took that photo once again. So you can simply go into Instagram and see who's tagged you in content and reshare that content on your page. You can also write a new caption. And then here on the lady in the pink jacket, she's explaining the concept behind the pizza that I tried to explain to you. So I'm going to play the video just so that you can have a look. I'm not sure if it's going to add the audio, but even then you'll be able to see there are the two videos, but the one got 8 million more views, which is really a lot. I'm not saying you're gonna get 8 million views, but the concept of behind the scenes and getting what the people are doing is right.
Sorry, Ria, is this meant to be sound with this?
Sorry, Jordan?
Is there meant to be sound along with the clip?
Yeah, but we will, unfortunately, with the screen sharing, it doesn't necessarily allow me to do that. But we will share this.
If you share it, you can click share sound and it should be able to. So if you stop sharing and then click share again on the left, on the right hand side under share options, there's a tab you need to click on that says share sound. and that should help.
Okay.
Hopefully, if
Stop
not,
share.
it's okay.
Okay, share.
And then on the right-hand side, there should be something that says share sound.
I'm gonna do a little quick test.
Perfect.
Can you hear?
No.
Ria, I think it's a.
It's
I think
okay.
it's an
Don't
issue.
worry about it. I'll just we can carry on.
Perfect. I'll pop the videos on this presentation or in the big presentation that we're going to share with you afterwards. Unfortunately, it's the application, I think,
No
that these videos are inside at the moment. Yes. And then just a quick one. I won't share the whole video, but basically this is Anna from the Super Spa in George that I spoke about. Inside a trolley, speaking of the specials. So if you would think of that concept and you think of your club, that would be a staff member on a golf cart or a staff member at their desk, whatever that may look like. And the thing here is to also think out of the box, to not just do what everyone is doing. I'll play a short piece of the video. So there's a bit of the video. You can get the idea behind that. We'll all pop these into the presentation that you can go and have a look at. And in the right-hand corner, there's actually also their handles. So if you want to go and have a look at the content on the platforms yourself, it is more than possible. I'm quickly going to go over to Canva just to show you how to create a simple flyer for your club. Basically, this would be in the parameters of still within your brand guide. So what we're going to show you now is obviously without a brand guide, but your club still, like we said, has its colors, has its font, has its look and feel. So to stay within those parameters, but just to show you how simple and easy it actually is. Just quickly going to show you my screen. I'm just checking if you can see that I'm in Canva at the moment.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I typed in here was a simple sentence that said golf open day. So when you scroll down, you could literally see all of the various options that is available. Each of these can be tailored into your design. So I'm going to use an example. I'll just use this one as an example. I'll click into it, and this is where this is where you would need to spend a bit of time on Canva figuring it out. Because you can't, for example, click that text if you don't pull this down. So you'll have to spend a bit of time, but just to give you an example, let's say this is the PE open day. And I want to change the font, I would do it here in the left-hand corner. For example, my brand's font is the Spartan font. Here it's always important whenever you make a design, is to see what they've used in the design, but also to know what a member would need. That doesn't mean you're going to go and add 3 more of these and literally fill up the page with everyone they can contact, with all of the details. You would have to really think, what is the minimum that I can put, for example, on this poster? And what is the information that my members are going to look for on this poster? That would be the date, the time, the details, and for example, here, you would then upload on the left-hand side, you would upload your own brand logo, and you can simply go and add it here, for argument's sake. I'm quickly going to go back to the home page of Canva. I hope you can still see. Basically, if you are to create a reel, I'm going to type in reel here. Here are literally templates, because reels can sometimes challenge people, especially if you're not used to it. But you can literally go and click on this template. This is a very cool, like 3 videos are needed for this template. If I click on these, once again, you're going to see here is a different font, once again, different colors. What are those of your brand? And on the right-hand side, you're going to take your video, for example, whatever that may be. If it's someone playing golf, you're going to pop it in at the top, and then you're going to move it down. And then once you play your video, it actually automatically gives it movement. That's
Yeah.
how easy it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you are moving at the speed of lightning here, but this is the amazing thing about Canva, is they've developed this incredible tool for you to simply click on an element. You can import that, you can change the element, you can have a picture, and you saw that they immediately added that animation across the picture. So whether it's a picture or video, they have that built-in functionality. What is really cool is that you can also, on the left-hand side, you can add brand elements like your logo. You can add elements like a frame, a shape, a heart, and you can really make this template your own. So also you can add audio by simply just clicking on add audio below the video. And what a lot of people do nowadays is they utilize that same microphone that you use for your live videos to do voiceovers inside your office. Sit at your desk and you quickly record a nice voiceover that engages with people, invite them for this Black Friday event, or your open day event or golf day, and you can simply add that in there. So it really is important for you to get the software, pay the $150 a month, and play with it, because there's so many layers that you can add. You can start projects at the bottom left. You can really build a powerful range of templates for your club, that whenever you need to make an announcement, look at how that changes now. And that's all while we're talking. Now, again, this is all stock photography. So if you look at that, the background there, that's not, doesn't look like the same golf course, doesn't look like, for instance, Durbanville, or, any other, like Hans Marinsky, or any of those clubs. So utilize your own, just as much as you see all these videos lying on the left-hand side, you can have your own library of content that you've uploaded.
Yes. And like you guys said, there's so many things available. So if the top photo is from your club and the bottom, for example, is a stock video, or the middle is a stock video like that one, and the bottom is again something from your club, it still makes it credible. And this was a very easy template. I simply searched for and went to go and design it. So a tip would be to make sure that when you, for example, put in a reel or a story, that you have in mind how many images are you going to use for this project. And that would also guide you. If you spend a bit of more time on Canva, you'll be able to see that you could literally add more videos as you go on. But it does take a bit of time. But I mean, for example, this video is a nice example of a quote you can simply add on here. I'm quickly going to click into it. On the left-hand side, we have something called elements. And here you're going to say drone video golf course. And you can decide whether you want a graphic, photo, video. In this case, I think a video would work well. So you click on videos, and here is a drone video. If you, for example, have a drone video similar to this, you would upload it to the library there on the left hand side. But for this example, I'm going to take that video, I'm going to add it in here, and literally move up the quote, for example, and make it black so that people can see. It's still not working. Perhaps I'm going to move it down, change the font, and just something. If you click on a video, you can also go and make it shorter. You don't need to be stuck with something that you have. And if you feel it needs to be faster, there's so many tools within Canva. And the thing that would make it yours is the fact that it's your club in the background, for example, and the text would be your font that you use in your brand guide. And you can even add a logo on there if you'd like to, but that's not even, necessary. That's how easy it is to go and create content for your own club. And even if you have 2 or 3 good content pieces a week, that would already make the world's difference. So I'm just quickly going to go back to the search bar.
Ria, just when you have a time, just go back also to that red and black vibrant Black Friday post.
Yes.
So let's, for instance, say that is a completed video now. Then just above it, you'll see there on the blue banner, it says red and black vibrant Black Friday. You can change that
Yes.
name into your own name, like Golf Day announcement, and then you can download it and you can share it. So perhaps just show them how to complete that portion as well.
So basically, for example, we've decided this is our final design. You press on the right hand button at the top, you're going to press share, and then you're going to say, I just want to move this if I can. Then you're going to say download. You're going to choose your quality, and you're simply going to download it, and it adds to your computer. So it's a very, very easy process of downloading it. And for example, if you want this rather in a image format, then you can also download it as an image. That play button won't necessarily be there. It'll use a thumbnail. So it's a very simple process depending on your needs. I'm quickly going to go back here to another example. So a reel and a story is very similar. But for example, a story would be would have a bit of a more, a different look. Like it would be day specific, like this, for example, Friday. Then we say customize the template. We want to speak of the fact that it's Friday at the golf course, and you need to come and play. Then we're going to say golf community, for example. We're going to go to photos and see what they have available. This is very much a stock photo. It would be ideal, but it's just too fake. I'd rather, for example, want to use this one. Once again, this is where you would have to play around a bit. So if you see that the design doesn't look the same, you would have to pull it down a little bit. I'm going to say it has to go backwards because there was a line. and there was a fade at the top. So then you'll have to move this around. Once again, you're going to use your fonts and your colors. Otherwise, by the time you're done with all of these designs, each one has a different font. So in this case, you will for example, say, or let's do the ChatGPT exercise quickly. I am going to open my computer and say ChatGPT, and then I'm going to say create me a caption for Friday at a golf course. Now it says the weekend swing starts here. I'm going to copy that, for example. I'm going back to my design. I just want to find it. The weekend swing starts here, which I quite like. I'm going to change my font to something that's easily readable. For example, that color. And there you go. Something important just around ChatGPT is the more you you give information and context to ChatGPT, the better your outcomes are going to be. So ideally, you would want to explain to ChatGPT here who your club is. And how you would do that is you would simply take, for example, your company brochure, and you would stick it in here, and you would ask ChatGPT to write you a caption for whatever you need. But people have become I'm just quickly going to stop my sharing. I just want to explain this. People have become very lazy with ChatGPT. As much as it is a very nice tool, you need to give it context. Otherwise, it becomes everything looks like AI and everything sounds like AI. I'm going to make an example. Nothing against this person, but unfortunately, they missed the mark. There was a lady on my Facebook the other day, and her daughter had a birthday. And there was this beautiful birthday message that she put at the top of the post. She had the caption, but she forgot to take out the quotation marks. And she forgot to take out the prompt that says, "Give me a birthday message for my daughter." And all of that was on Facebook with her post. What was supposed to be a very authentic, cute, kind post, unfortunately turned out to be like, oops, she used AI for her poor daughter's birthday. But it's very important to remember when you use ChatGPT as a tool to teach it about your club, and it's going to become so clever because you're going to feed it so much information around your club that it eventually is going to have its own voice as well. So that is something very important, to keep in mind. And I'm also quickly going to show you, for example, I don't really want to do it because I haven't taught it something about a club, but I'm going to show you how to create content, for example, for the next month with ChatGPT. That's how easy it is. But then you have to be careful not to fall into the trap of, this is what ChatGPT says, this is what I'm going to use, but rather go and ask yourself the question that we've spoken of earlier in the training is this going to make me scroll? Is this going to make me laugh? Is this going to do something for my club and my community? That's why it's actually, in our industry, I found that it's been more beneficial sitting outside on the stoop with a cup of coffee, seeing what people are doing online and thinking for myself, what would my club and my people want to see, rather than using ChatGPT, because otherwise it all becomes blurred. And Hugo said something very nice in the beginning, and I really want to encourage you all to do this, is to ask your members what they would like to see. Like, I'm going to put a brand on the spot, but the Stormers recently did a logo update.
Laws
The
that no.
whole world, sorry, you go?
Leave it. Laws that no.
But the Stormers did a logo update. And the shift that we said, content is becoming more community orientated, content is becoming more real. What they didn't do with this logo is they did not ask the community and their fans. Remember, it's as much as the Stormers is a team, your club is a community. If you do something your club doesn't like, they will make you know about it. So everyone in the comments were like, this is terrible. Whoever pays the marketing person should be fired, whatever. I mean, people actually went like full on in the comment section. But what would have been super beneficial? And I must say, like, for example, brands like Burnt, Old School, they do it really well, is they get the buy-in of their community, whether it's online and in person, before they just, share a new range. So it's actually to go and ask your members, listen, guys, we're working on our social media. We love a few ideas of you. What would you like to see on social media? Is to get their buy-in rather than asking ChatGPT for all of these questions. Yes, it's an amazing tool, but what do your people want to see and what makes them tick? In the Stormers case, if their fans had the buy-in, it would have been a much easier process because they could have said, guys, we got so many responses, a few were mixed emotions, thank you for giving your insights, and maybe they would have tweaked the logo, or the community would have reacted in a slightly different way because they're actually asked their buy-in. It's like making a product and first launching it, seeing what people are going to do before actually making thousands of them. So I'm going to show you the ChatGPT example, but this does not replace the voice of your community and your brain. It does not replace your brain. I just quickly want to share my screen. So basically, I'm going to give it a prompt. For example, I need to compile a month worth of content for a golf club. Give me a whole month's calendar and ideas with pillars. Here it says, perfect. Let's build a 1 month calendar for a golf club with content pillars. So you have a variety, balance, and strategy. Here it says week 1, golf tip, Wednesday, lifestyle, Friday, events, Sunday, a community. It gives you a whole month's worth of content. So you could go as far as tell it, give me captions for each one of them. So here it says, great. It literally gives you the caption worth of each one of your posts. Like I said, this is amazing, but if you use it wrong and you misuse ChatGPT, like all of your things start to look the same and you actually defeat the whole social media purpose. And as much as social media has become easier with AI, it has also become more difficult because there are so many people online and there's so much content being shared. So it's really important to create your own identity and your own voice. That's it from me. Hugo, I don't know if you would still like to add anything.
I think, Ria, it comes back to planning. And if you look at what works and what doesn't work, you'll very quickly know how to adjust your content. And we've just showed everybody how easy it is to utilize something like a free tool or a paid for tool. Milanote I don't know if you can open up Milo Note, maybe just show them how easy it is to assemble content onto a Milo Note and how to share it. Because Milo Note is a great tool, because then you don't have to send everything via WhatsApp or email for approval, put it into a Word document, and you can't play the video, etc. Milo Note is most probably one of the best content management tools to utilize. Because if you
I'm
create
going to
a
share it
new
shortly.
board every month, that becomes your also your I want to call it your like a content hub that showcases all the posts of all the years. And if you add a video, for instance, a cop video there at the top, Ria, on 4 April, that video is always available online in high definition. You can download that now and distribute on WhatsApp groups. You can, this is a content hub where all your high-res content lives.
So here's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and you also have your little caption here as well. So this is what you would like to say. Someone can approve it as well. So it becomes an easier way than an Excel sheet or various sheets or Word documents to compile. It's called Milanote. It's also in the presentation, the name, how you spell it, but it's very easy. And it definitely is, very much worth looking into for a club as well.
Show them a quick, okay, you've just closed, but it's very simple. You can simply just bring down a note board, add the caption, and then just share that link to whoever needs to approve it, or if you want that to go a bit further, as you can just share that to a whole team, perhaps just quickly add a note
Yes.
in a video that you've done.
So here is, for example, a new column. I want to have this image on my column. There I've downloaded it on my computer. I've simply dragged it in here. Here I take a little note, I stick it at the bottom, and I say, Friday night plans sorted. I simply add it there. What I would do then is add a comment, and I would tag Hugo in here. And he gets an email notification to see what has been on there, or he can simply log into the app and be able to see that post.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a live system. So it literally just helps you to share the content, get the approval, and when everybody wants to know what's happening, especially if you've got a management team or you've got a board that you need to reply to as well, you can simply send that on to them. They can have a look at it, and everybody knows exactly what's going to go out on what day. Obviously, you will get those interim posts where you didn't plan it, but there are beautiful, a flock of geese, arriving at one of your holes at one of the dams, or there's elephants on the golf course, or you have a very nice special meal that's going out, and there's some lovely content taken. That goes on. That you should always add. The more you post, the better. But again, if you look at content, you're not going to post all your posts right after each other every morning. You can schedule it. So there's always like a 3 to 4 hour gap open before you post the next content piece, because it needs the opportunity to go viral. And if you don't allow for it to go viral, then that becomes an issue.
Yeah. So that's basically the summary of today. I think the main takeaways are the fact that it needs to represent your golf community, your club, personal over perfect and curated. Planning is very important. Using the systems that are available to you as well, like Canva, like ChatGPT. If you've never heard of them or you've never taken this route, it's definitely one to look out for. And also that it doesn't need to be expensive to be able to post the content, but it is important to then get that structure and to get your brand um elements in order before you just start creating on Canva. Otherwise, you have the case of everything looks different.
Good. Oh, good heavens. So I just ended the slideshow.
Sorry, Hugo. Have you
Okay,
ended the
so
slideshow?
by accident, I ended the slideshow. So pretty much that is it. That's a wrap from our side. Please use the time we've got about 20 minutes left to ask questions. I know the first presentation we did, we hardly got any questions. And then the last time we got like 10, 15 questions, which was really awesome. So please, if you feel free to ask some questions.
Hi, Hugo. Sorry, and just quickly, I just want to maybe suggest to everyone, if you are using Canva, to maybe look into the bulk create function. For example, if you're doing certificates at your club or vouchers or anything like that that need to be addressed to specific people or have specific information that varies between item to item going along when you're creating it, then what you can do is you can upload a sheet or add a sheet. So when you create a bulk upload, it will then auto-generate all these different things with the different names or dates or however the information changes between your documents. So that's another thing to look into. And then today, I don't know if some of you saw, Canva can also help you create QR codes when you're doing posts and stuff. I used that today. It will just help you can do it quicker and slot it into anything like that. Or if you need a member to do a quick poll or anything like that, you can use that tool as well. And then I don't know if you mentioned it, Ria, but another ChatGPT or AI tell is the long hyphen, the M dash. So some people, when ChatGPT creates content for you or text content, sometimes you'll see that double dash, and that's it's a giveaway. I'm guilty of it. I've used it before. It just shows that you have used AI tool to generate that. So maybe sometimes just take that out if it's not absolutely necessary.
That and the excessive use of icons,
Yeah, emojis. It's
emojis,
terrible. Oh, please don't. Like maximum 2 emojis per caption. We do not want to see all the mountains, all the flowers, and all the emojis. This definitely uses it quite excessively. And also, something just a general note and a shift we've seen is the captions are getting much shorter. There was a stage where they were quite short, and then they became longer, and now we're seeing they are becoming quite quite a bit shorter, except if you have long communication in your caption. So basically that's also just something to note. And earlier I think there was a question about hashtags. A maximum of like 4 or 5 hashtags maximum on your posts. The time where all of remember we had those paragraphs of hashtags, that time is definitely over. You can go and have a look at all the main brands and the movements as well, because if your content is good, it will automatically reach a bigger audience.
Mali, just to answer your question, is duplicating posts beneficial for different images? For example, you have a special running each Friday or Wednesday. You can definitely duplicate your template, but change the image, or add a video or add some form of animation in there, so that you don't. We call it user fatigue. User fatigue creeps in when people start seeing the same thing over and over. Think about. We always used to say, we're very blessed in Cape Town that we don't have as many billboards as you guys have on your highways in around Johannesburg. But now we have billboards popping up along the N1 in the winelands. It's the saddest picture ever. But if you drive along a highway close to home and you have a billboard that goes up, you notice it the first day, but maybe the second day, maybe the third day. But after the fourth day, you don't see it anymore. So it really is important that you update your content on a regular basis.
Yes, definitely. Someone asked Jordan, if you could explain the bulk generation again. I think you, in your context, use it quite a lot. We use it less often, but I'm going to give over to you just to explain that.
So what I'll do is when I communicate with everyone after the fact, after this webinar, I'll just pop a link in so you guys can see the Canva, how Canva directly explains it. But essentially what you'll do is you'll import a sheet, or you can do it manually, of what you want to differ between the content on each of your either slides, certificates, whatever you're producing on Canva. It will then make multiple of essentially the same item, just with data that you have selected to change between, and that sheet will then alter between the different designs the content on it in those specific assigned blocks or things like that. But I will, sorry, I use it all the time. It's hard to explain it, but I will pop a link in so you guys can see what
it's essentially Canva using the data you feed it with to duplicate on designs.
Well, there's pretty much nothing that Canva can't do. They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the development of and expansion every year of the different options and functionality. So for your 140 odd bucks, or 850 rand per year, it's a lot of good value. Right. Any other questions?
Yep.
I think we have covered them all. Comment section, sorry. I think we've covered all of them.
Yeah.
If there are any further questions, here's one. Are there any tools we can use to ensure our captions are SEO friendly, like relevant keyword and hashtags? If I can just quickly jump in here, Hugo, you can maybe add on this. Each club, I'm not sure if you have a website, but Google Analytics and Google AdWords will actually be very important here, because on Google Analytics, you'll actually see, what people are typing in, finding you, especially Google Ads as well. And that would be a very big key for your keywords. For example, if we do a blog, for a brand, we would go to the previous month and see, what keywords people were typing in, and we'd use that language in the blog. You can maybe add in there in a practical way if you don't necessarily have a website, or if you're not doing Google Ads, but that is a very relevant question.
I think, Ria, you have to have the reporting tools. So if you've got a website, you must have analytics. It helps drive your decision making in terms of who's visiting the website, where they're coming from, what are they engaging with. There are any pages that are not getting any engagement, then you need to address that. Furthermore, if you go onto Google, there's a keyword planning tool that if you open up Google, you register for analytics, you can log into the keyword planning tool. And that keyword planner helps you to identify in your area with your own website what the search trends are in terms of keywords. So that's a very important tool for you to utilize as well. And then ChatGPT is a great source, to help you identify some of the most frequently used hashtags based on your content. And then I think the most important one here is actually to see what your competitors are doing. What are they utilizing? But again, stick to, I'd say 3, maximum 5. Don't overdo it. You don't want to kill people by adding 30 keywords, hashtags at the bottom of a post. It's just, it's a wasted time, wasted space, and a lot of wasted energy. Ask yourself always the question is, do you utilize hashtags? I mean, just by show of hands quickly, how many of you are actually utilizing hashtags in your personal usage when you browse social media? Yeah, I see about 4 or 5 hands. That's it. A lot of people don't. So it's a nice way to structure your content and make it easily, easy to find. But ultimately, I'll say 3 to 5 hashtags if need be.
Perfect. Are there any more questions? Oh, here's Michael.
How's it, guys? So just one quick question from my side. I find when I post on a video, in particular, on Instagram versus Facebook, my engagement and my views and the insights seem a lot better on Instagram compared to Facebook. Is video becoming a little bit outdated on Facebook?
Not at all. In actual fact, it depends on your audience, Michael.
Yeah.
I can show you stat after stat after stat. If we run campaigns where we either generate leads, or we generate web traffic, or we pay for content, the majority of conversions to your website and to event responses, etc., that will always come from Facebook. It's just a tool that is far easier to get people out of that Facebook environment onto your platform, your website. But in terms of content, it really depends on your audience. If your audience is a bit younger, and the type of content, go for it, Ria.
Yes. Sorry, I just want to add to that. Is Michael, to answer your question a bit, is exactly what you guys said. There's a bit of an older generation on Facebook. That is why the videos tend to do better on Instagram versus Facebook. And I don't know if you've seen, but Facebook cuts off your reel on the sides as well on desktop. Whereas on mobile, it views correctly. So it really depends on your audience. The statics do better on Facebook than on Instagram, but that's why it's important to have the mix of both in your planning.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys.
Perfect. Is there any more questions?
Perhaps I can just ask you to add to the group, if we look at the meeting chat, what is your biggest struggle in terms of content? If you don't mind just sharing that with me, just what is your biggest frustration in terms of content?
Hugo, we have Marley mentioning here, I found it hard to grow my LinkedIn following while Instagram and Facebook is growing quickly. Any advice? Just first-hand advice with various clients and various organizations. The thing with LinkedIn is, for example, if I, for example, do the LinkedIn of a sweet brand, I'm going to make an example now. It's very I actually need to go and have connections in the sweet industry to go and invite them, to grow the page, because you get a certain amount of free credits every month. So a tip would be really to, if you are, the dedicated person for LinkedIn for a club, is to immerse yourself in the golf industry, make those connections on your personal page, and then go and invite them to go and like your LinkedIn, or set up a list of potential people you want to add to your LinkedIn page, or have your LinkedIn, see your LinkedIn page. And the other thing we've seen a lot is, as you know, I have mixed feelings of LinkedIn about LinkedIn. I love it, but on the other side, I'm always like, can everyone just stop talking about their achievements? But that is the platform. But LinkedIn is a thought leadership type of platform. That's why the content that you put on Instagram and Facebook doesn't necessarily do as well as it would on LinkedIn. So a practical tip would be to go and have a look at your captions. Is it exactly the same, or are you trying to drive thought leadership and grow the page? In the beginning, if it's a young LinkedIn page, it's kind of fine to have the same content because you're just trying to get the message out. But later on is to really go and look at the language and the questions you're posing on LinkedIn, and ask yourself, is this something, I would like to read on LinkedIn, or is it something that actually needs to be on Facebook or Instagram? So it would be first to build your community, invite them to go and like the page, and secondly, to make sure your content actually speaks to the LinkedIn audience versus the audience that you would find on Facebook and Instagram. Does that answer or help? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, then there's just a
Yeah,
few more
I think Ria,
comments.
just importantly, you just touched on something very important, and that is something that we always say to people: you've got to stay native on the platform that you're operating in. If you're going to post onto Facebook, stay native to the platform. The same with YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Think about the audiences, and all that data is on the back end of your profile. You can see exactly what the age groups are, of people that are following you, people engaging with you. Is it men or women mainly? Or is there an even balance? So always stay native to the platform and utilize the tools. They tell you who's following you, they tell you who's engaging with you, and you can use that data to streamline and sharpen your messaging and the tone that we spoke about early on. So that's very important.
Perfect. It doesn't look like there are any more questions. So, Jordan, I believe we can wrap up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ria and Hugo. I really appreciate you taking time for today's session. Thank you to everyone who joined and participated actively. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to pop a link into the chat quickly for some feedback. If you could please fill that out, that would be fantastic. Thank you again to everyone who completed their registration. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to continue with that going forward through all other webinars, as it has proved helpful. Thank you so much again, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Laying deep down on the bottom of mine. laying deep down on the bottom of mine, watching the blackbirds flying so high, laying deep down on the bottom of mine. Take a look into the sun. I'm laying